Chapter 37 to 38. In the blue sea on Jaya Island, Mont Blanc Cricket was sitting below a lone tree, while looking at the sky. Every month, around this time, the bell's ringing reaches the blue sea and Cricket waits for that sound every day. 2 years ago, Cricket's pirate ship coincidentally arrived at Jaya, the island where Nolan supposedly found the city of gold, and the island that so many of Cricket's family members failed in finding. Standing upon the cape where the city of gold was supposed to be, Cricket decided to accept his fate and find out once and for all if the legendary city that Nolan found existed. His crew, however, did not agree with his decision and left him alone on the island. Left all alone, Cricket decided to live in a house near the cape and began diving all alone into the waters surrounding Jaya, swimming back and forth in his search for the city of gold. Maybe it was a godsend, or maybe he just hallucinated, but during his 3rd month of constantly diving, Cricket heard the sound of a bell ringing coming from the sky. At that time, Cricket was sure Sky Island existed, and he was also sure that one of the knock-up streams sent the city of gold up in the sky too, essentially making itself a Sky Island too. Now, with nothing to do, he just enjoys his life here while diving deep down in the sea. This is his new romance. Dying. Oh, it's happening. Cricket perked up his ears, with a smile on his face. Ah, how I love this sound. Dying. Dying. Asterisk. Before leaving the sky for real, Amon paid a visit to Nola the snake, and then to the golden belfry and rang it like he does every month. After his leave, Wiper will be the one to do the ringing for the next 2 years. Then, without wasting any more time, Amon finally decided to leave with a large bag in his back. Though this didn't affect his wings, as the bag was placed in his back perfectly. The bag was filled with dials, and he decided to eat all the mangoes already to not make the bag weigh more. Fa! Amon flapped his wings and took off. He was going upwards now. While going up, he glanced at the barely visible moon as his thoughts wandered. I always wondered if the moon also has oxygen since my ancestors lived there. Amon thought as he was going up at the speed of 350 kilometers per hour. Guess I won't learn about it anytime soon. Amon then started to slow his speed. After a few minutes, Amon stopped and looked down. Will I become a fried chicken if I dive down from here? Amon thought as he shrugged. Guess time to find out. Asterisk fa. 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 Asterisk. Charging his wings, Amon lunged down. Whoosh. Ah. Yes. 120 km/h. Faster. 230 kilometers per hour. Amon passed the white sea. Yeah. 370 km/h. Fuck. This is going out of control. Amon then slipped his hands in his pocket and took out some dials. He used the first one, as it was like a seat belt, and Amon wrapped the cord around his chest and clicked the button. Special jet dial. Like the repulsor beam of Iron Man, compressed gas came out of the dial and his speed started to decrease. He would have already been F***ked bad if he didn't have his wings to support his flight. Phew, nice. Amon's speed was still increasing, however. The current one was in his control. For 100 kilometers per hour, Amon passed the white sea, while the wind was morphing his face strangely. 500 km/h. Fuck. 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 Hot. 610 kilometers per hour. Amon could now see the blue sea, as for the first time in a while, his eyes grew wide with excitement and nostalgia. It's been a whole life. For the first time in his life, Amon felt a sense of familiarity, ironically, from something he never saw with his own eyes in his previous world. Amon then clicked another dial, as a hang glider like Aang from Avatar formed from it. Special dial, hang glider. Amon then gripped the glider skillfully and moved his hands towards a button in the glider. After clicking the button in the glider, small wings came out of it. Fa, fa. Just as the parachute opened itself, Amon also spread his wings, and along with the glider, he skillfully changed his flight direction, leaping up rather than going down in the process. Soon, his speed stabilized. It was still fast for a normal person, but for someone who's been falling at the speed of 600 kilometers per hour, until now, it wasn't that fast. Maybe I should do this often. It's good training for my skin and endurance. Amon said as he then decided to go down slowly, at the speed of 100 kilometers per hour. Minutes later, Amon could spot a black dot in the clear blue sea below him. He could guess what it was, as the Skypiean usually flies around Jaya. So that must be Jaya. Without wasting any time, Amon tried to see things down there, possibly more than 6,000 meters down. He used observation hockey, but it didn't work as he could only zoom in a little. However, he had a more versatile form of observation for this type of situation. Observation hockey, eagle vision. Oh! Amon's view suddenly zoomed in, as his eyes could see a clear map of Jaya from around 6,000 meters up in the sky. Though the next moment, his vision returned to normal by itself. Well, I will just have to train a little more. But I guess it did its job. he said as he confirmed that the island below really is Jaya. He decided to meet Cricket, the descendant of Noland. It's just a thing anyone in his position would have done. Cricket's POV. It's been a few hours since the bell last rang. I was now stretching my body to prepare for the next dive. Unlike how I used to dive all day during the first 3 months, these days I only do it for fun, so I take care of my health too. After all, I have nothing to prove myself since I already know about the city of gold existing in the sky. Maybe I should soon find a new adventure. Should I visit the sky once? That's a thing to think, Abioha. What's that? Is that a bird in the sky? Suddenly, I notice something like a humanoid figure flying close to this place. A devil fruit user? A frown appears on my face as I prepare my mind for a possible battle. Though based on Grand Line standards, I'm not that strong, but I still have a 25 million belly bounty on my head. Also, as a guy who values self-respect, I don't really back away from a battle. I can see that creature coming towards me, as I notice it's actually not much different from a normal human. Around the size of a teenager, dark black hair, red eyes, and The next moment, at an astonishing speed, the enemy arrived a few hundred meters in front of me as his figure entered my eyes. It was hard to pinpoint his face, as the sun was just behind his head. Hello. My previous mindset was completely crushed and destroyed into pieces as strength left my arms. An angel? Hello, Blue Sea citizen, nice to meet you. Unexpectedly and surprisingly, the seemingly angelique short-haired female in front of me bowed slightly towards me. General POV. Ha ha ha. So you really are a boy. Cricket laughed out loud as he had his arms around the angel, Amon's shoulders, while he had a wooden glass of sake in his hand. First you say you live in the sky, and now you are saying a person with your physique is a boy. Ha ha ha. The world is a strange place. It's been a few minutes since Amon introduced himself to Cricket, as he has been pretty friendly with him. Anyway, if you really are from the Sky Island, do you happen to know anything about a city made of gold? Cricket asked as he took a mouthful of sake. Gah, don't worry, I'm not testing you or anything. I'm genuinely asking a question. Ha ha ha. Amon also put his hands around his shoulders, and they both started to chat as if they've been friends for decades. Yes, it's actually the place where I live. Ha ha ha, I'm a Shandian, you see, a proud direct descendant of Calgara. Cricket's face froze as he almost dropped his glass down. Are you serious? HM? Yes, do you happen to know about anything? Amon looked at him with curiosity. Air. Cricket removed his hands from his shoulders. Do you happen to know anything about Noland? I heard he befriended your ancestor Calgara. Amon blinked and smiled. Obviously, Mont Noland is like a legend to us, the Shandians. We respect him the same as Calgara. Amon said as he took a sip of sake, as he almost puked. BFF. Are really? Cricket asked in disbelief, his eyes wide and a little wet. Yes, why would I lie? Mont Noland is a respectable guest of Shandians. His descendants are also the same. While Cricket wiped his tears, Amon looked at him with fake confusion. As tears mixed with snort fell from his cheeks, he looked up at the sky, as he imagined the face of Noland in the cloud. Oh, Noland, you bastard. You weren't lying in the end. Cricket smiled brightly as his snort and tears fell on the ground. Those bastards killed you. Those stupid bastards called you a liar. Ha ha ha. He cried and laughed at the same time, as Amon smiled onwards from the sidelines. After that, Cricket explained things to him, explaining how he was a distant descendant of Noland, and how Noland is now known as a liar who was beheaded for his lies. A few droplets of tears were also formed around Amon's eyes as he heard all this. He massaged his eyes with his fingers. I can't believe the great Noland met such a tragic end. In a sense, we are the reason for his death, Amon said as Cricket patted his back. Don't worry, young man. I'm sure he is happy seeing our reunion from the heavens, Cricket said as he also wiped his eyes. He was truly happy for what happened today. He felt as if his life had just found a new meaning. He wanted to scream to the ones who called him and his ancestor a liar. Look, Noland wasn't lying. Look at this teenager with wings. He is from the city of gold. He wanted to scream it loud and tell the whole world that Noland was no liar. And he also isn't one. After that, Cricket treated Amon better than before, while they both hunted some animal to eat. While eating, Cricket finally asked the thing that piqued his curiosity. So, Amon, why did you come to the Blue Sea anyway? I never saw any Skypieans in here before you. Cricket asked as he was pouring his mouth with beef meat, while Amon was also doing the same. Well, gulp. The priority was to find the descendant of Mont Noland, and then to learn about the world in the Blue Seas. Amon said while filling his mouth. I guess the first one is complete already, so I will now leave for an adventure. Amon was loving the food, as it was free, so he ate everything he could. I see. Then what do you want to do now? As he asked, Amon looked at him confused. Well, you see here in the Blues, it's not a good match for you to be a merchant or adventurer. You should choose between being a pirate, marine, or bounty hunter. Oh, you probably don't know much about them. Let me explain, Dash. It's okay. Amon cut him. I already decided before. I will be a bounty hunter. I plan to visit Whiskey Peak, the paradise of bounty hunters. Yawn, this is getting boring. Amon thought. I hope he has an eternal pose of Whiskey Peak, or at least ways to get one. If not, this visit would be useless. 2 months later, Whiskey Peak. It was night time, and a bloody battle was taking place in Whiskey Peak. A large crowd of bounty hunters with weapons in their hands were surrounding 2 people, one with chestnut hair, and one with bloody red wings with blood dripping from them. Many dead bodies were also lying around the 2. Crimson Wing, you have been stealing all our targets for the last months. We didn't mind it. A deep voice said. However, you are protecting a pirate with 25 million belly in secret? Heh, talk about hypocrisy. The voice belonged to a skinny bounty hunter. As he said this from the middle of the crowd, he seemed to be the leader of the mobs. Ha ha ha, aren't you guys funny? The person with blood-red wings, Amon laughed while pointing his fingers ahead. I do what I want. Isn't that what bounty hunting is all about? Right, Amon. Beside him was the person with chestnut hair, Cricket said. Haha, Amon. You have logic, but huff. He seemed tired. You should fly away. I don't think we will hold off against a whole island of bounty hunters. Huff, he said while huffing. He had a few scratches on his body, but mostly his stamina was out from kicking constantly. 2 months ago, when Amon decided to leave after getting his hands on a log pose, and also an eternal log pose of Whiskey Peak, Cricket requested to tag along, ting about finding a new adventure and whatnot. Amon accepted him as a companion, even though he was aware of Cricket's bounty, as he himself had revealed it. He also knew how inconvenient it would be on Whiskey Peak, yet he accepted his request. There is a specific reason for this, though. The 2-year time frame would be his exam period. I will set a goal of growth for him for these years. If he passes it, I will take him to the sky. But if he fails my expectations, well, 25 million is a large number in the end. This was Amon's thought at that time. Amon grinned as he remembered his own words to himself. Don't worry, Chestnut Man. I was the one to bring you here. How could I leave you in the middle? Cricket has passed his expectations quite pleasingly, and in the past 2 months, his growth was tremendous. Amon looked back at him with a grin. Hey, Cricket, you don't mind deaths, do you? Huh. Well, I'm a pirate, a proud one. Death is common to me, ha ha ha. Cricket answered as Amon moved his head. Well, then crouch down. I will show you my new move. Oh ho. Now, that's the line I was waiting for you to say. This is officially my favorite line, ha ha ha. After releasing a burst of laughter, Cricket then crouched down with a grin. The next moment, Amon's wings widened themselves, as his feathers became pronounced while perking up. Bye, peeps, Amon said with a sadistic grin. He has been training with his wings and learning about their unique powers every now and then. Wing sword style, feather genocide. Asterisk pew. 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 Pew asterisk. The next moment, seemingly thousands of his red feathers plummeted from his wings and dashed towards everyone around him, penetrating their bodies in the process. This action turned his wings into only bones. But soon enough, new white feathers bloomed on his skeleton wings. Damn, that was fire. Cricket shouted in exhilaration. Asterisk. Time skip 4 months later, Skypea. It's been a while since Amon was last seen in the sky, though the Skypieans didn't know that he left the sky. In the port of Angel Island, a medium-sized ship halted. The ones riding the boat were not locals, nor were they outsiders. Though they also had wings like Skypieans, their wings were much bigger than the norm and were pointed downwards as it proved their identity as Birkins. Wow, are they the Birkins? It seems like that. Look, their wings are so cool. Heh, still our Kamisama's wings are cooler. Well, if you compare like that. The Skypieans around the port were talking as they were observing the Birkins. They were not sure why they were here, but they weren't worried. First of all, the Birkins are a peaceful race, and secondly, even if something unexpected happens and the Birkins try to attack them, they will be done in by the militia. Last 6 months, when some pirates attacked, they have seen many things. Hey! Suddenly, one of the Skypieans shuddered, realizing something important. Aren't they the Birkin priests? Damn, they are respectable guests. Really? Somebody, take them to the praying house. The ones who arrived at this place weren't just any Birkan. They are the top 6 of the Birkin race, the priests. Soon after, some Skypieans took them to a big and round church-like building at the side of Angel Island. Above the building, some words were written in bold text, praying house. Unlike the idea the name provides, this isn't that kind of church. Rather, this is a place where the outsiders can buy a coupon that can be used to visit the upper yard. And if they pay more, they can even meet God himself. This system worked like a charm, as many Blue Sea people brought the coupon with 100 million belly just to take a glance at the land of God. Though nobody brought the 1 billion offer, which would have let them meet God himself. Though the offer was tempting, 1 billion was a large number, and there was no guarantee of them meeting God for real. Luckily, they didn't buy it, or they would have been scammed anyway, since God wasn't present at this place at the time. Nonetheless, the ones who brought the ticket of 100 million never saw the gold, as they were forbidden from entering the right side of the upper yard, even with the coupon. As of currently, the revelation of the Golden City will only bring troubles. Soon, the 6 Birkins reached the church as they met a blonde receptionist. Hello. I heard you guys are the Birkin priests? Welcome to the Angel Island, the receptionist said with a slight bow. She was wearing a nun outfit, however. The priests could tell she was just dressed in a hurry, as her black bra under it could be seen when she bowed. She was Coin, who was playing around just a few minutes earlier, as the news of Birkin visitors reached her shortly after. She usually works in a normal outfit, but since it's the priest of the Birkins, she decided to wear the formal dress in a hurry. Thank you, mortal girl, the humble voice answered, as Coin raised her head and looked towards the man. He was tall and had blonde hair along with strange long ears. Nice to meet you. I'm the High Priest of Birka, Priest Enel. It was the Enel, the same Enel who became God after eating Gorogoro no Mi in the canon timeline. However, it is highly unlikely to happen this time around. Amithaba, Enel said, as his chest was naked and held his hands in an Amithaba position. Beside Enel, there were another 5 priests. 4 of the 5 people were the ones who became Enel's god's army in the canon. The priests are named Om, Shura, Gadatsu, Satori. Amon would have recognized all of them, except one of them. One of them was someone who Amon didn't know from the anime, though he did know her after reincarnation. The blood donor, high priest, or rather now the archpriest, who is of the highest rank among the 6 priests in front. On the other hand, Coin was in a tight position. Ugh, they are the real deal, she thought internally as she was sweating a little, albeit mostly because of the dress she was wearing. Usually, she doesn't wear her formal work dress and performs her job in her normal clothes. However, today the guests seemed important. She wasn't sure why the priests were here, but it was clear that they came to meet God, or rather Amon as she calls him. It's most likely a political thing, so it might cause inconvenience if she acts strangely. She took a deep breath. Though I know the current God, Amon, personally, I never really saw him like that before his new look 6 months ago. This is my first time meeting someone of such high status. Sigh, get a hold of yourself, Coin. Like how people will get nervous meeting another country's president and his guards in Amon's world, it was the same in this world too. That's the main reason for Coin's behavior. Please ask me anything you need. I am the one who manages things here. Without realizing, she shuddered and bowed lightly. Ugh, who knew this job was so hard? Coin gritted her teeth internally. I only took it since this pays well. Also because it's a respectable job. This didn't exist before Amon came in power. It was easy for me to ask him for this job. I kind of fooled him if I say so myself. Coin thought as she sighed, though she didn't know Amon only gave the job to her, since she is the one of the few beautiful Skypiean he knew, making the job of the receptionist perfect for her. And as he expected, 30% of the customers who bought the coupon only visited the church because of the blonde nun and bought it by falling for her sweet words. Her husband, Pagaya, is also working as a militia as a rover and shooter engineer. Remembering this, she clenched her fists. Our family is doing very good these days. Can't mess it up, or I will lose the job. Ignoring these thoughts, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Phew. Then she opened her eyes with a newfound cool in them. Welcome, priests of Birka. I'm here in your service. So please let me know how I can help you. She said as she went for a bow again, however. She felt 2 feminine hands stopping. You don't have to be so nervous, miss. A sweet voice said, we are simply here to meet the god. She said and helped her raise her head. Looking ahead, Coin was a little surprised at how she didn't notice this girl before. It's almost as if she blended herself in the surroundings. Around 1.6 meters tall, she had long red hair along with large purple eyes. She wore a yellow robe, a pair of earrings with green pearl, and a yellow lash connected to it. She looked simply charming.